to reverse the declines of pollinators, and this should be established by a science-based monitoring method, the new POMS, pollinator monitoring scheme. This will be done by traditional methods, but we all know that there are some limitations or challenges in terms of gathering the data or identifying the data. So here come the novel automated methods, which can complement these approaches and help fill in gaps. So I think I don't need really to tell you about the pros and cons of the novel methods, but I do anyhow. So we can increase the geographic coverage with that, the taxonomic coverage, the speed and accuracy of the identification, and we also have a quite high temporal resolution. On the other side, it needs annotation, training, taxonomic resolution is not down to the species level for some groups. Technology readiness, user-friendliness, plug and play, not often the case in many for many devices. We don't need what are the actual costs in comparison to the traditional methods. Frameworks to link all the data that we gather with the novel methods to real-time monitoring, often lacking, and also we need some pipelines for large-scale implementation. So to fill some of these gaps, Antenna comes into play. Who we are, I think you might recognize some familiar faces like Quentin from Denmark, Thomas from Greece, but we also have partners in Spain, Ireland, Netherlands, we are in Germany, and we are assisted by Pensoft for dissemination activities. Our objectives are to, as I said before, fill those monitoring gaps, complement the EU POMs, provide transnational pipelines for monitoring activities, develop enhanced indicators to support policy and other end users. Wrong direction. As all the projects, we are organized in several work packages. First two are about improvement and testing the new methodologies. Then subject all the resulting data into integrative modeling, and finally develop pipelines for large-scale implementation. In more detail, we have one work package dealing with the co-design and the advancements. So we first will identify the stakeholder needs based on questionnaires, building upon the Mambo stakeholder mapping. Then we will also update automated pollinator sorting and classification, which basically is biodiscover, but we will also link this with metaphor coding approaches, making use of protocols from BGE and the RISE. So if you have questions for that, I would like to forward you to Tucker. Ready for use camera traps, which is the minimum. I think Quentin brought some. You can have a closer look. Elena, sorry, brought some. Have a closer look. It's based on 3D printed flowers. And identification, we will use the flat bug approach for detection and segmentation. Then we will identify the added value. So it's basically comparing the novel and traditional methods. For that, we already started, basically in Spain and Greece, setting up within 6 countries the minimum, but also AMI, diopsis, and the cameras on real flowers, as Simon presented earlier. And in addition to that, we do transect walks and time tracking. But we also will complement these assessments with assessing habitat qualities by low-lying drones, using different sensors. And the aim is to assess the flower resources and potential nesting sites, also using deep learning classification for that. Finally, we do cost-benefit analysis, also building upon number work, and basically also work done by Tom Breeze from Reading University, and to really know, okay, what does it cost when we apply those methods in comparison to traditional methods? What are the benefits, the added values against them? Then how to use this data, it's about integrative monitoring and modeling. So we will develop robust indicators of insect declines. The thing here is that insect populations usually follow high fluctuations, while on the other hand, the timing for sorry, for assessing trends is rather short. It will be 6 years for the EU pumps, for instance. And we try to overcome this, but you can see it's currently at the conceptual stage. So we need to advance it more. But if we overcome these problems, we can then develop some near-term forecasting with a kind of updated iterative cycling, and finally developing early warning tools, again, conceptual stage. Last thing is pipelines for integration at the larger scales, basically standardizing data and protocols, FAIR principles, data management plan development, and roadmap for the enhanced EU-wide pollinator monitoring based on a theory of change model. And that's it. Many thanks.
Thank you.